So we were discussing the first lesson and under programming. So that's the first topic. We were discussing problem solving. So we discuss the steps first, and then we discuss identifying the input, output, and process. Right. Then we discuss development of algorithm. Under that we discuss there are many ways to develop algorithm, and then most important one we have discussed, that is pseudocodes and flowcharts. Right. Then we were discussing adding two numbers, flowchart that we could discuss, and how we may add two numbers together. So that's the first one we have discussed, adding two numbers. So that is included here. So in this particular case, so let me quickly show you the flowchart of addition. So this is adding two numbers. So we get the two numbers first using input, and then we perform the addition, and then we calculate the total. Right. The next one we discuss is the control structures. Three control structures we discuss as sequence, selection, and repetition. And in sequence means we are going to execute one after the other. Right. And then we discuss another flow chart where we calculate the area of a rectangle. Again, we get length and width, performs the area of a rectangle and display the area. And then we calculate this area of a circle, right? So in this particular case, the inputs is a radius and the output is the area of a circle. Now for that, we have to, use the equation 5r squared. So since we are getting radius, it should be 5 into radius square. And then we went to talk about the selection. The difference between the sequence and selection is in sequence, so you are going to execute all the steps. But when it comes to selection, it should be only part of it. When the condition is true, then you are going to execute true alternative. If the condition is false, then we are going to execute false alternative. Right. That's about the selection. Then we discuss one example where when we get marks and we are going to output whether a particular subject marks and whether the subject is pass or fail. So in that particular case, input is marks, output is either fail or pass. It depends on the condition, right? So in this particular case, we raise the question, is marks is greater than 50? So that's a question we ask, and depend on the answer, we will get yes and no, true, false. Let's say it's yes and no. So we are getting pass, and then we are getting fail, yes and no, pass, fail. And then we also discuss another equation where we will discuss getting a number, and when we display whether the given number is even or odd. The strategy that we have used there is we divide the number by 2, right? So in here, we get the remainder, we get the input, we get the remainder, we divide it by 2, and then we find the remainder, right? Then the question is whether the remainder is 0. We know that if the even number, the remainder should be 0 when you divide by 2, right? Now for this one, actually, we will later on discuss, there are some, operators which we can use to perform the remainder mod operator we will discuss later on. But for the time being, what we do, you get an input and the output will be either even or odd. Now to find out even and odd, we know that we have to use something to compare with. The strategy that we have taken here is you divide by 2 and you look at the remainder. So there are two ways that actually you can handle. You can check whether the remainder is 0 or you can check whether the remainder is 1. So in my case, I actually selected whether the remainder is 0. So when the remainder is 0, if it is yes, instead of 2, we may use yes here. Yes, then it's even. If it is false, then it's odd. I think up to this point, we have discussed the answers. Right. I think I have corrected as well. Then I asked the others to send me their. Okay, so in this particular case, we are going to look at the other little bit more complex ones, right? So I actually asked a couple of questions. So let me go to the slideshow again. So the next one is given a temperature. Now, a couple of you actually answered this one, but let me discuss the answer properly. So in this case, can you tell me using the chat, what are the inputs and what are the output and how do you process it, right? So if I ask what are the inputs, Achira? Yes, Achira, what is the input here? Achira? Yes? The input is? Janani, what is the input? It's the temperature, right? So we are getting a temperature. Janani, you are right. It's a temperature. So what is the output, Amasha? What is the output? Yes, that's the state. So there are 3 possible states: ice, water, and steam. Now question is this: given temperature value, how can we get the appropriate state? Whether it's ice, whether it's water or steam, right? So that's the question. Okay, let me start with the whiteboard. So let me get whiteboard. So in this particular case, I'm going to use a whiteboard here. So here is the whiteboard. And then I'm trying to write down the equation for this. First of all, as I told you earlier, you look after input, output. So already we have discussed that. So let me type this. So I'm going to get so I will first of all look at the input. So we know the input is temperature. And then the output, we know it's a state. So that means either it's ice, water, or steam. It should be steam, one of these 3. So given temperature, how do you know whether it's ice, whether it's water, whether it's steam? Yes, what is the strategy? Can one of you tell me what is the strategy? What should I do? How can I find the state, right? Given the temperature. Yes. Anyone? You get the temperature and you have to check something. What are you going to check? You can check multiple things. What are the multiple things? We know the temperature values. If it is less than 0, we know that it's yes. So the output or the process will be, you have to check this, right? So the process is, you have to check whether temperature, whether it's greater than 0 or less than 0, you can check this, right? So you have to check this, right? So now let me ask this question. So let me start from the beginning. Yes. So I'm going to draw. So let me draw. Yes, I will say start. So this is the starting point. I'm going to say start. So when I say start, we know that we have to use this shape. And then something wrong in my drawing. Let's see that I could, change. So that's what. And then that's the starting point. Problem with my tool. Something wrong here. Anyway, worst case, I will use mouse pointer. Yes, so we will start with saying start, and then we will draw the shapes. And then you will get the input temperature. Okay, I think I'll write using mouse pointer. Something wrong in this. Anyway, sorry about this. So let me use the mouse pointer instead of this. So we can say we will start. We say start. So that's the starting point. And once we start, we have to get the input value, right? So that means we have to say, okay, input temperature. So we are going to temperature value. So these are the first two tasks. So let me draw the shapes as well. So this is the starting point. And then this is input. Right, so that's the first step. So we'll get the input temperature. Now, once you get the temperature, you could have asked a couple of things, but when it comes to selection, you can have only a question to get two choices, isn't it? We ask whether the marks is greater than 50 is yes, no question. So we have to ask yes, no question here as well. So you can ask one thing, either you can ask whether temperature is less than 0, or you can ask whether the temperature is greater than 0. Both are correct, right? Janani said temperature is greater than 0. That's perfectly all right, right? So in my case, I will go from the beginning. So the first thing that I'm going to check, I'm going to ask is I'm going to ask whether temperature is less than 0. So I'm going to ask this question. So what happens here? I will have a basic shape. So this will be a shape like this. So this is what I'm going to ask, right? So when you ask a question like this, there will be two answers, yes and no, isn't it? The temperature is then 0, yes. If it is yes, we know that we have to display as ice. So I'm going to say, okay, print ice. I put commas here because it's a message. If it is no, then there'll be another one. So this side is yes, isn't it? Okay, so this one we will have output, and this side is yes. So when you write this, when you take up like this, it will be yes. Then if it is no, then there'll be another selection we have to use, because there are two more values, because we have water and steam, right? So when you say no here, there are two possibilities. It could be either water or it could be steam. So that means I have to ask another question here. So what was the question you think? If I come in this side, I should have asked, because this side is ice, the other side, it could be either water or could be steam. So how do you know? Right now, when you come this side, we know that temperature is either 0 or more. That's the only thing we know. So how do I identify yes, water and steam? I have to ask another question. Yes, can you tell me which question I should ask here? Pramudi? මොකද මං අහන්න ඕන පුතේ මෙතන. මෙතනදී මම ඇහුවා අඩුද කියලා ඇහුවා. ඔව් නම් අපි කිව්වා ice කියලා. එහෙනම් අනිත් පැත්ත නැහැ කිව්වහම මේකේ අදහස ඔව් ටෙම්පරේචර් එක බිඳුවට අඩු නැහැ කියලා කියන්නේ. ඔව් බිඳුව හෝ ඊට වැඩි. Yes, as Pramudi said, Pramudi asked whether temperature between 0 and 100. Now, AK Pramudi, you don't have to ask 0 because we already know. If you come this side, it's 0 or more, right? You can answer only about 100. Isn't it, Pramudi? Now, when you ask a question, is temperature less than 0? And when you say no, it means that temperature is either 0 or more. So you don't have to check about 0 here now. Yes, then you have to check about the 100. From the බින්දුව කියන එක හිතන්න දෙයක් නැහැ. මොකද බින්දුවට අඩුයි කිව්ව ගමන් ඒකේ අදහස පුතේ බින්දුව හෝ ඊට වඩා වැඩි. නේ? අපි අහන්නේ is temperature is less than 0. එහෙනම් බින්දුවට අඩු නැහැ කියන්නේ ඒකේ අදහස බිඳුවට වැඩි කියන එක. Got it, Pramudi? Okay, good. Now we have to ask about the 100. Now you can ask two questions here. As you can ask whether the temperature is greater than 100 or whether it's less than or equal to 100. You can ask both, right? So in my case, I'm going to select, I'm going to ask this question. So I'm going to ask, is temperature less than or equal? I am going to write 100. Yes, and then again the question mark. Yes, so I'm going to ask what? I'm going to ask whether the temperature is less than or equal to 100. Another question. So that means we have to have a decision block here, right? Rectangular short box, and this comes from here. Yes, and this is when the value is no. So when you say no, then there will be two situations again here, right? So if it is temperature less than equals 0, then there are two answers, yes and no. When we say yes, what will be the output? When we say yes, what will be the output? Let's say this side yes, what will be the output? When we say temperature less than or equal to say 100, when we say yes, this side, what should be the output? That means temperature is less than 0. No, that means 0 more, and then temperature less than or equal to 100. Yes, Pramudi, as you said, it should be water. So that means we are going to say print water. We say print water. Otherwise, no, the other only option, yes, that is print steam. So I can draw now. So this is water output, and this is steam. Yes. When this is yes, and this is when it is no. Yes, so when this is yes, and this is when the condition is no, right? Now let's look at again, right? So in this particular case, we are going to look at again. When we have yes, it's water. And steam, when the temperature is less than or equal to 100, is no, right? So now let's complete the remaining. So we know that, first of all, this is we need to complete. So I'm going to draw like this. So this is the end of this. Yes, like this. And that will end up with this ice. Why is that? Because this is the condition, and when this is yes, and this is when it is no, right? And within that we have another selection. So with that we will come to an end. So we can say end. So this is the end. Then you have to actually check for answers, right? Again, I will explain one more time. You start, you get the temperature. You can ask multiple questions. So I ask one question whether the temperature is less than 0. When it is yes, you know, so this side, it's ice, and that is the end of the program. If it is not less than 0, what do you mean by not less than 0? That means either it's 0 or more. we can check whether the temperature less than or equal to 100. So when you say yes, this branch, it means the temperature is between 0 and 100. So then it's water, then you will come out. Likewise, again, if it is no and temperature is not less than or equal to 100, when you say no, what it means? It means temperature is greater than 100. So when you say greater than 100, it should be steam. Right. Now I will give you 3 inputs. Tell me what those outputs are. Right. So I will give you the input. Tell me what will be the output. Right. Now input temperature value I will give. So here the temperature input. So that is temperature value I will give. Tell me what are the outputs. So the inputs are, let me take different color. Just 25, let's say 50, let's say 85, 100, 105. Yes, can you give me what will be the output for the given temperature value according to this? So let's start with 25. We are assuming the temperature is 25. The question we asked whether 25 is less than 0. Yes, is it less than 0? No. Then you go this side. Now you ask whether 25 is less than or equal to 100. Yes, isn't it? So then this will be water. Okay, the next one. We will give 50, temperature 50. 50, is it less than 0? No. Is it less than or equal to 100? Yes. Then this is also water. We give 85 here. Now temperature is 85. 85, is it less than 0? No. Is it less than or equal to 100? Yes. Then again it's water. 100. You check whether it's less than 0. No. You come here. Whether it's less than or equal to 100. So it's equal to 100. So that's water. Then we will check whether the temperature 105. Is it less than 0? No. Is it less than or equal to 100? No. Then this is steam. Okay, let me give you a new one. Okay, give me the answers for this. I will give you input. Minus 20, 0, 25, 100, 120. Yes, I want everyone to answer the output of this. Yes, Achira, what is the answer? Now let's take the first one. It's minus 20. You check the temperature. Now I said it's minus 20. If it is minus 20, you are going to check whether minus 20, is it less than 0? Yes, isn't it? So the output is ice. So you will get here as ice. Okay, Achira, what is the answer for second one? Shashini, what is the answer for second one? Now first one is ice. It's less than, it's minus 20, right? Shashini, what is the answer? When temperature is 0, is it ice, is it water, or is it steam? Let's see. I'm going to take different color here. So let's start with 0. So the temperature is 0, right? So we are checking whether 0 is less than 0. 0, is it less than 0? 0, is it less than 0? No, right? So you come out here. Then we will check whether 0 is less than or equal to 100. Yes, isn't it? So then it will print water. So then this should be water. Shashini, can you give me the answer for 25 here? What will be the output? Shashini? So it's 25, right? So I'll put 25 here. So I'm checking whether 25 is less than 0. No, then it'll come out here. Then 25, is it less than or equal to 100? Yes. Then again it's water. Okay, how about 100? You are checking whether there is less than 0. No, 100 is not less than 0. Then go to no. Then you check whether 100 is less than or equal to 100. Yes. Then it's water again. So this is water. Next one. Then 120. Yes, 120. So I'm checking whether 120 is less than 0. No. then you check whether the 120 is less than or equal to 100. No, then this becomes steam. So this is how it works. Now you see that in our case, we had three choices. That means ice, water, and steam. We had three choices, and for that we need two selections. Why two selections? With the selection structure, you can check only, two choices, isn't it? To check three, you have to have two selection structures. You have to have three selection structures. Okay, so you can take down the flowchart if you are not. So in this example, we are going to look at given marks. We get marks for a subject, and then we are going to print the grade. So we are supposed to look at whether the grade is A, B, C, S, or W, depend on the marks you got, right? So this is exactly what we are trying to do. So let's take the whiteboard. We will draw the flow chart. Okay. Now, first of all, can you tell me what is input? It's marks, right? Yes, it's marks. So I can say start. So we have input. So the input is marks. So the output, we know it should be grade. It could be A, B, C, D, sorry, not D, then S, then W, right? So these are the grades. So we have to start looking at input marks. So we'll start with input marks. So the input is, we said it's marks. And then output is either A, B, C, S, O, W. So these are the possible grades. Let's start drawing this. So we'll start with the values. So we'll say start. Don't draw. This is not the correct one. Start. And then you get marks, isn't it? We get input marks. So once you get the marks, you can check. We know that when the marks is greater than or equal to 75, it's A. Yes. So we can start with that. So let me first draw this. So this is the start. And this is the input. And input marks. So the next one is you have to check. What do you have to check? You have to check marks greater than or equal to 75. Yes, marks, is it greater than or equal to 75? So this is what you need to check. So there are two answers. So you have to check whether it's greater than or equal to 75. If it is a case, we know that we can print or we can display, right? We can use display as well. A. So let me put display. It's same as A. You display. If it is not greater than or equal to 75, that means this side, we know that it's less than 75, right? So let me draw that one as well. So this is a decision block. And we are checking whether the marks are greater than or equal to 75. If not, you are if it is greater than 75, yes, then you are going to display it's A. So this is yes. If it is a no, then again you have to have a selection, isn't it? If it is no, what you're going to check? If it is no, then you are going to ask, yes, you are going to ask whether marks greater than or equal to 65. Yes. So don't draw, as I said you earlier, I will give you a complete answer. So you go check whether it's greater than or equal to 65, greater than or equal. If it is no, right? If it is greater than or equal to, if it is yes, then you are going to display it as B. Yes. So you can draw. You will see that it's a bit of complex if you are going to draw in like this way. The way we have drawn so far. If it is yes. If it is a no, there's a selection again. So it's go on like this. The space is not enough. So I'm going to redraw this in a slightly different way, right? So let me clear all drawings. Same thing in a slightly different way. So I will start here. I will say start, right? Then I'm going to input marks. Then I'm going to ask, is marks greater than or equal to 75? So that's the question that I'm going to ask. So let me redraw these things again. So this is the start. And then I will get marks. The first one is, I'm going to ask this, whether the marks is greater than or equal to 75. So the two answers, it could be yes, it could be no. When you say no, you go in this direction, right? For the clarity. So in this particular case, we are going to say, okay, yes, display A. So I'm going to draw again. So this is the output. Janini asked whether we could get 64 to 75. Yes, you can. Janini put එහෙම ගන්න පුළුවන්, but the problem is when you're going to write in a programming language, it will be a bit difficult. Flowchart වලදී ඔයාට ලියන්න පුළුවන්. කිසි වැරද්දක් නැහැ පුතේ. ඔයාට අහන්න පුළුවන් 64 ඉඳන් 75ද කියලා. That's okay. So this is A. Right? It goes like this. If it is no, again I'm going to check. So I'm going to ask, is marks greater than or equal to 65? This is compact representation. So I'll put it like this. So I'm going to draw it again. So in the second one, it will be like this. If it is yes, then you are going to display B. Yes, it's like this. So we will draw it as an output. Then it will be B. And you have to go to the end, but for the time being, I will put this as an error, right? You are going to go to the end, right? Then if it is yes, then B. If it is no, then again you have to ask quick question. Yes. So if it is no, this is 65 or equal. So the next question could be, you can ask, is marks greater than or equal to 55? So this is what you are going to check. You check the marks is greater than or equal to 55. So you see, Janani, we will have to check only one value here. When you say 64 to 75, you have to check two values, which will be difficult. You will understand this later on. So then it's C. So if it is yes, it's C. You will connect here. And it will go on like this. 55ටත් වැඩි නැත්තම් no නා. ඒ කියන්නේ 55ට අඩුයි. So when you say no, that means it's less than 55. If it is no, then we have to check whether it's greater than or equal to 40. Yes, we have to check whether it's greater than or equal to 40. So this is. My drawings are bad because I'm using a mouse here, but I guess you can draw it nicely. So we can say display S. What is the last one? Can one of you tell me which one is the last one? What should I type next? What is the last one? Achira අන්තිමට වෙන්න ඕනේ මොකද්ද? මෙතනින් පස්සේ මේකත් no නා. Let's say this is also no. ඒ කියන්නේ 40ටත් අඩුයි. It's even less than 40. Then what should be the output? Amasha? Yes? Achira? Shashini? Yes, it's the last one, isn't it? You have to say display W. Forget about my capital simple. You can use either capital or simple. Uh, Different places I put different values. So maybe I could change. Otherwise you might confuse. So the start you can say capital S, input you can have capital I, marks you can have capital M and so on. Otherwise you might confuse. Capital simple doesn't matter. So this is W, again output. And finally we will have end. Yes. So that's the end of this. So this should come to an end. You should come here. And this one also should come to the end. It should come like this. Now let's check the flowchart from the beginning. So in this particular case, you get marks. If marks greater than or equal to 75, then you display A, and that's the end of the program. Let's say marks is not less than or greater than, less than or equal to 75. So that means it's less than 75. And here we will check it whether it's a greater than 65. If it is yes, then what that means, the marks is between 65 to 75, isn't it? Which means it's B. And that's the end of the program. Yes, let's check the input output like in earlier. So let me put some values and can you tell me? So let me put input. Yes, and you need to type output. Input meaning here marks. Here the output means the grade. Yes. So let me put some values. So let me say 85, 70, 50, this is 60, 50, and then let's say 35. Yes, can you tell me the grades? Yes, what are the grades according to this flowchart? Let's start with 85 first. So when you say 85, this is 85, isn't it? Yes, marks is 85. So you will check here whether the marks 85, whether it's greater than or equal to 75. So what is the output? අපි බලන 85 75ට වැඩි හෝ සමානද? ඔව් නේද? එහෙනම් මොකද්ද display වෙන්නේ? So this should be A, isn't it? So it should be A. So it will display, A, and then that's the end of the program. That's all. Now let's try 75 or 70. So let me put 70 here. I will put 70. So first of all, you check 70. Yes, you check 70. Is it greater than 75? No. Then you come here. You check 70 here. You check whether the 70 is greater than 65. Yes. Then it's display B. So that means this is B. Achira, can you send me all the answers? Shashini, you can also try like this. So the first two is A and B. Right now I got answers from Janani and Amasha. Both are correct. Good. Let's try with 60. So first of all, let me put this as 60. Marks is 60. Here I will check 60, whether 60 is greater than 75. No, isn't it? So then you come here. You put 60 here, the marks is 60. 60, is it greater than or equal to 65? No, right? So we'll get 60 here. Now we will check 60. Is it greater than or equal to 55? Yes, it is. So you get C here. Okay. I got answers from Achira, Shashini, Amasha, Janani. Everyone is correct. Good. So let's start with 50. Let me put 50. So I will start here 50. Marks 50. You check whether 50 is greater than 75. No. Then you come here. You check whether 50 is greater than 65. No. Then you come here. You put 50. You are checking whether 50 is greater than or equal to 55. No. Then you put here 50. 50, is it greater than 40? It's yes. So this should be yes, right? I couldn't draw it. This should be yes. Then it displays. So you will have yes. Last one. So we'll start with, let's say 35. Yes, 35. Is it greater than 75? No. Is it greater than 65? No. Is it greater than 55? No. Is it greater than or equal to 40? No. Then it's W. So they should be W. So that should be the answers. Okay. Now you may draw this. Once you finish, please let me know in the chat that you have finished drawing this. Then I'll move to the next one. Okay. So now I can delete this. The sequence and the selection. We have finished this sequence and selection. What is the third one? What is the next one? What is the next one? Yes, third one. It's called repetition. Right? Please take down the title as repetition. And can you please draw this? So this is like you get from previous, this is an arrow. You put a condition. So here you better write yes and no. So let me put this. This should be yes. And this should be no. Put yes and no. put repetition and this. So this is called repetition or iteration. So here what happens, step or several steps is repeated depending on the condition, whether it's yes. If it is yes, you are going to repeat this. And if it is no, then you are going to come out from this. So in the above flowchart segment, the task is repeated if the condition is evaluated to true. Okay, so let's move on to the next example. Let's take down under repetition. Draw a flowchart to print numbers from 1 to 10. Draw a flowchart to print numbers from 1 to 10. Draw a flowchart to print numbers from 1 to 10. Yes. So this is start, print 1, print 2, print 3, print 4, 5, 6, and go up to print 10. And this is end. So what's the problem here? Can one of you tell me? What's the issue here? This is printing numbers from 1 to 10. Yes. Right. So this is okay to write, but this is not going to work for large set of numbers. So instead of putting like 1, 2, 3 like this, I'm going to repeat something. That's the repetition. So what we could do is we can improve this. Yes, using repetition. So what is the common term for instead of typing 10 times print statement, we can say print what? Yes, print what? How put it? Let me put capital print what? We can put something that can change. What is it? Yes, a variable, isn't it? Have you heard about the variables? Variable can be used to represent something that can change. So instead of saying 1 to 10, I can say print number. So this is a variable. This variable we can, repeat, don't draw. So we can draw. So one thing, when you start drawing, That means when we start, what should be the value of number? Can one of you tell me? What is the starting value of number? Yes. The first value we want to print is, what is the first value we need to print? Yes. It's 1, right? So how do you say 1? We can say, yes, we can say number equals 1. Now look at this. So this is rectangle, right? So this is not input, not output. So this is, process. So this is the starting one. And then number 1. So when it comes print number, it will print 1. Now, once you print 1, what do you want to print next? Yes? What do you want to print next? You have to increase this number by, what do you have to do? Let's say you say number, that's 1. And you print the number, that you print 1. Now, next we have to say, increase number by 1. How do you write this? Okay, in computing, we will write something like this. Let me explain. I can say, okay, number equals number plus 1. So this is process. This is not mathematics. In mathematics, your left hand, right hand side and right hand side should be same. Now this is to say, get the existing number, add 1 to it, and store back in number, right? So you start with 1, you print 1, then 1 plus 1, then this becomes 2. Now, if you put a condition, let's say we are going to put a condition. Right now, we don't have to worry about the condition. Let's say the condition is true. You are going to repeat this. Yes. And then if it is finished, then we'll go back like this. This is repetition, right? And when it's no, then you will come out. Let's say this is no, right? And then say this is end, right? So this is end. So in that case, this is the last point. Now see what will happen. You start, you take a variable is 1. Let's say the condition is true. Then let's say you are printing number. So you print 1. Then number is 1, 1 plus 1. Now the new number is 2. So you go top. Now you print 2. 2 plus 1, print 3. It will go on. What will happen? Will it stop by 10? So what will happen? You start with start, number is 1. You print the number, you increase the number by 1. So this will repeat as 1, 2, 3, and so on. To stop by 10, we have to put up a condition. So in this particular case, we check whether the number is less than or equal to 10. So that means it will print 1 first. You check whether 1 is less than or equal to 10. Yes. You print 1. Then number becomes 2. 1 plus 1, existing number 1 plus 1. So new number becomes 2. You check whether the 2 is less than 10. Yes. Print 2. 2 plus 1. 2 less than 10. Yes. Print 2. 2 plus 1. 3. 3 is it less than 10? Yes. You print 3. 3 plus 1. Number is 4 now. 4 is less than 10. Yes. You print 4. 4 plus 1. That's 5. 5 is less than 10. Yes. You print 5. 5 plus 1. 6. 6 is less than or equal to 10. Yes. You print 6. 6 plus 1. 7. 7 less than or equal to 10. Yes. You print 7. 7 plus 1 is 8. 8 is it less than 10? Yes. You print 8. 8 plus 1 it's 9. 9 is it less than 10? Yes. You print 9. 9 plus 1, 10. 10, is it less than or equal to 10? Yes, it's equal to 10. You print 10. 10 plus 1, it's 11. 11, is it less than or equal to 10? No. Then you will come out. So you see that here we can print the number. So if you want to print 1 to 1000, yes, you can just put 1000 here instead of 10. So it will print numbers from 1 to 1000. Right? So this is easier than the previous one, right? Instead of printing one at a time, you can have a variable. In our case, we taken as number, and then we initialize it 1 in the beginning, and within the loop, we increase the number by 1. So in that particular case, it will print 1, next 2, then 3, then it goes up to 10. When we will print 10, the number plus 1, 10 plus 1, it becomes 11. When the number is 11, you will come out from the loop. Okay, so next week, we'll talk about the other example.